Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of Showdown at Buffalo Jump by Gary Svee, narrated by Sala. This book is copyrighted 1989 by Gary Svee. This recording is copyrighted 2004 by Recorded Books. From the town of Prairie Rose, Max Bass sends word to any and all able-bodied women he wants to get hitched. Of course, he stretches the truth a bit when describing his life, his home, and his finances. So when Catherine O'Dowd, his mail-order bride-to-be, takes exception to his tall tales, he finds himself with one furious woman on his hands. And that's the least of his problems. And now, Showdown at Buffalo Jump.
Chapter 1. Max Bass stood on the boardwalk, stiff as the starched shirt he wore. His shirt was scratchy, hot, and too tight around the collar. Not that a man could breathe in this abominable heat anyway. But worse, the shirt was a lie. Part of a costume Max was wearing to make a lie more believable, to make himself a more believable liar. Damn shirt. Max felt like a forgotten soldier on a drill field, standing at attention, waiting for someone to tell him at ease. But no one did, so he stood uneasy, shoulders squared and a wilted bouquet of prairie flowers held across his chest in a liar's salute. Only his eyes moved, mostly to the southeast, watching for the puff of dust that would indicate the stage was coming from Ingomar. She'd be coming that way. Train from Boston to Montana, and then stagecoach from Ingomar to Prairie Rose. Max ran a finger between the stiff collar and his neck. If he were a sweating man, he'd be drenched now. But Montana summers had dried the sweat out of him long ago. Damn heat. A little breeze would give a man some relief, but there was none, not even a flicker among the leaves of the cottonwoods that lined the creek on the edge of town. Still, Max knew it wasn't the heat that was preying on his mind. He was waiting for his bride-to-be, a woman he had not yet met. Damn shirt? He should have worn his usual gear, a rough pair of pants and a long-sleeved flannel shirt. This stiff collar was a lie, just like the lie he had put in the Boston newspaper. Montana rancher and coal mine owner seeking younger woman with matrimony object of intentions. Interested parties may write Max Bass, General Delivery, Prairie Rose, Montana. Max wasn't accustomed to lying, but he had lied to Catherine O'Dowd because she wouldn't have come if he had told her the truth. Likely no woman would have. No woman Max would want, anyway. The lie ran on, long after Miss O'Dowd and a dozen other women had answered his advertisement. Max studied each of the letters for hours, seeking clues to the writer's character. His neighbor, Edna Lennington, had told him not to take too much stock in the pictures. Photographs are only as honest as the light and the photographer allow them to be. Still, Max had huddled for hours in the light of a kerosene lantern studying them. No question that Catherine was pretty bone-deep, not like some of the others. Max could tell the difference between a well-boned horse and a kid's pony all decked out with tassels and silver rigging. He'd recognize her all right when she stepped off the stage. Max ran a finger around his collar again. This thing would probably choke him before the stage arrived. Miss Catherine O'Dowd would pull into town looking for her husband and find him dead and fly-blown on the boardwalk. Most likely none of his friends would recognize him dressed as he was. They'd just let him lie there in the sun while the flies crawled across his eyes. Max's mind skipped like a dust mote in the sun, settling for a moment on a glass of beer. Sure would hit the spot. Cold it would be from ice cut and stored last winter, and foamy, too. Max's mouth would have watered if there had been any juice left in him, but there wasn't, so he just stood there, a little more parched
Sample complete. Ready to continue?